Good afternoon and welcome to this info session on the call for proposal to support EFSA for the pesticide risk assessment in the activities we are having as a core business. My name is Manuela Tiramani and I'm the head of the pesticide peer review unit, which is one of the units who collaborated to prepare this call and which have an interest for the support coming from proponents. In the next slides, I would like to start with some housekeeping rules. The event is a one-way audio, so you all registered and participating today are in listen mode only, and you are automatically connected to the audio broadcast. The language of today's event is English, and we are recording the event, and the recording will be published on the EFSA website. There's a chance for you all to write your question in the chat box. And after the event, all the questions and the answers, of course, will be published in the EFSA website and in the financial portal of the European Commission with all the relevant documents. In case you don't see your question published in the chat for this event, don't worry, we will be answering to all questions in a written form, and you will have the chance to see them later. A particular and special request for you all is to participate to the survey on this event, which you will be receiving after the event itself. And this will help us to improve or take on board suggestions for new features we might not have considered before. In the next slides, I will show you how this hour together will is structured. So after my introduction and welcome and thanks everybody for participating, I will hand over the floor to my colleague Herman to provide an overview on the content of the call for proposal, and later on to Donna, who will guide us through the financial and administrative aspects. And we will have time after the presentation for a question and answer session. And without further ado, I would immediately hand over to Herman Guiner for the overview on the call of proposal. So Herman is ready here, and off you go, Herman. Thank you.
Thank you, Manuela, and good afternoon, everybody. Yes, my name is Herman and I work as scientific coordinator in the PREF unit. And here I will give you an overview of the content. Next slide, please. Here you have the title of the call, which focuses on support to EFSA for the risk assessment of pesticides. And when we talk about this specifically is in a broad term, meaning that includes risk assessment of active substances used in plant protection product and also pesticide residues. And this there are 3 units that are in EFSA that are related to this risk assessment of pesticides, which are pesticide peer review, the plants unit, and the FDP unit. Next. The reason we launched now this call is because there was a similar previous call 4 years ago, for which the framework partnership agreements will expire at the end of 2025. And now there is time to launch this new call to put in place new framework partnership agreements. This time the call is open for Article 36 organizations. and there are slight differences. For example, at this time, I will mention later, the financial model is finance non-linked to cost, which is a new aspect. And the tasks and areas are similar. There are a bit new tasks that I will mention later. And yes, and the objective of the call is just to establish these FPAs, because support may be required according to EFSA needs. These EFSA needs are difficult to obviously to say now. It depends on the priorities on the moment during the next 4 years, but they will vary across combinations of 6 areas and 12 tasks. So there are many multiple combinations that you can apply to. Next slide, please. Yes, next. First, yes, let's talk about a very important concept in this call, which is the area task combination. The organizations, either an individual applicant or a consortium, can apply for one or more area task combination. In the call, there is this table where you can see listed the 6 areas and 12 tasks, and not all of them are applicable. You can see them in this table, but there is a maximum of 54 possible combinations that an organization can apply to. For example, it will be possible to apply, for example, to only one, for example, area 1, task 5, but it is also possible to apply for other combinations, for example, area 3, task 1, or area 3, task 10. So in this way, up to 45 possible combinations. Next. And yes, the EFSA will evaluate the proposals received by Article 36 organizations in a way that for each area task combination, up to 4 beneficiaries will be ranked. For example, here you have in an area, hypothetical case, area X, task X, and you can see there will be awarding a score for each proposal, and the beneficiaries will be listed and forming what is called the cascade system. My colleague Donna will give more details later on this. And the way to launch a specific agreement for this area task combination will be that EFSA will go first to the beneficiary ranked in first position. If there is a negative reply, it is not mandatory to accept EFSA offer. If there is a negative reply, EFSA will consult the second beneficiary ranked, and so on. So yeah, you need to reflect very well to which area task combinations you want to apply to. Next. Now I will present the areas of the call. As I said, there are 6 areas, and area 1 is about toxicological and metabolism studies and the related risk assessment. So this typical area, toxicology, includes also the assessment of non-dietary exposure and studies related to endocrine disruptive properties. Area 2 will focus on residues. Area 3 will focus on chemistry, physicochemical properties, analytical methods, fates and behavior in the environment, and the related risk assessment. Next. Area 4 will be ecotoxicological studies and the related risk assessment, again including endocrine disruptive properties. Area 5, this is a new area they've introduced, will be on assessment on product efficacy and activity of metabolites and active substances against target organisms. And Area 6 will focus on scientific coordination and administrative support for project and processes failing within the scopes of EFSA activities on plant protection products. So these areas will, as I said, will be combined with the tasks. Next slide. With one of the 12 tasks, and here for each task, it is indicated what are the areas that are applicable or can be combined with the task. For example, for task 1 is only can be combined with areas 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And for each task, in brackets at the end of each task is indicated which are the areas applicable. Task 1 will be about scientific contribution to the evaluation of active substances. This is mostly relevant for chemical active substances. And also their related coformulants, impurities, safeness, and synergies, and their drafting of the respective EFSA outputs. While task 2 will focus on the scientific contribution to the evaluation of biocontrol agents. And here this includes, for example, microorganisms, including viruses, and also new novel active substances. So like these new forms of RNA and peptides. So these are a new task that is added, and it will become more and more relevant for the next years. So again, this task 2 includes also the coformulants, impurities, safeness, and synergies, and the drafting of the respective outputs. And also here for clarification is indicated that it also includes this task includes the assessment of the identity, biological properties, secondary metabolites, and product specifications. Next, please. Task 3 will focus on the scientific contribution to the drafting outputs related to pesticide residues, in this case, in food and feed, and the respective risk assessment. Then task 4, it's a wide task because here EFSA can ask for scientific contributions related to data collection, data entries for databases, quality checks, data reviews, literature review, and development of IT tools and databases. Task 5 will be for scientific contribution to the drafting of EFSA guidance documents related to the risk assessment of plant protection products and related tasks. For example, the drafting and implementation of protocols, preparation of the case studies, feasibility check of the draft guidance prior to finalization. For example, here, one of the possible tasks that EFSA may launch will be the review of the guidance document on terrestrial ecotoxicology, because there was a call, a specific call to review this guidance, but it didn't succeed. So it's very likely that the review of this guidance will be carried out under this call for proposals. Next, please. Task 6. It is about prospective and retrospective cumulative risk assessments. For this, the call is saying that there is another ongoing call about cumulative risk assessment that will have precedence over this call. Task 7 is related to negligible exposure, Article 4.7 assessments, and assessment of emergency authorizations under Article 53. Task 8, there's several tasks, all of them are applicable to Area 6, and it's about the support in pre-submission and dossier intake activities, completeness checks of dossier and assessment reports, support to the preparation or review of documents, development of regulatory processes, coordination of pesticide-related activities, ensuring that the applicable legal framework is applied correctly, and that scientific consistency and quality within and between the different outputs is guaranteed. Next slide, please. Task 9 will be for the development of Euclid, which is the tool currently used for the peer review of active substances at the EU level. And this entails several subtasks. For example, the development of optimization of thematically generated reports, manuals and tutorials, validation and filtering rules, improve and/or develop data formats, interoperability solutions, or risk assessment flow from study submission to validated endpoint database. Task 10 is related to training activities and training materials. Next, please. And these are the last two tasks, which are task 11 is the CLH report, meaning the preparation of proposal for harmonized classification and labeling of a substance or a group of substances. This is according to a new regulation adopted last year, for which European Commission can ask EFSA to prepare this. And the last task, 12, is about the scientific contribution to the basic substances in the context of Article 23 regulation on plant protection products, and all related tasks to basic substances such as scientific assessments, including the data collection, literature research, and appraisal for integration into the assessment, drafting the EFSA outputs, or scientific support to address ad hoc requests for technical assistance. So as you see, there are a wide range of tasks available in this call. And now next slide, please. For example, here I listed, you can see example of tasks that are successful examples under the last call that it was launched 4 years ago. For example, there was a specific agreement for literature review on basic substances, another one on optimization of Euclid report generator for maximum residue levels. Another example of task was the mock assessment for prospective cumulative risk assessment. Other example, data collection for endocrine substances and residue metabolites, or support to scientific evaluations for maximum residue level review of non-approved active substances. So here you can see more concrete examples that one organization being qualified under this call could be entrusted for. Yeah, next slide. Yes, next. Here, yeah, I want to explain a bit more on the implementation of the FPAs and specific agreement. So a framework partnership agreement will be signed with Article 36 organizations after the evaluation of the proposals. This FPA will last 4 years, and one single framework partnership agreement can include one or more area task combinations. For example, for understanding this better, one under a single FPA signed with an organization, more than one specific agreement can be signed with the organization. For example, one specific agreement can be on a specific area task X1, another one specific agreement that can be launched later upon EFSA needs can be on area task X2, and then so on. So meaning that several specific agreements can be signed with an Article 36 organizations under a single framework partnership agreement during these 4 years. Next. And here, this table is indicated also in the call for proposal, and will be used by EFSA to define the budget for each specific agreement. For example, here you can see an example of budget estimation. For example, let's say area 2, task 3, for example, the beneficiary requested will be requested 2 deliverables, and the complexity of which will be judged by EFSA. For example, let's imagine that one of the deliverable is of complexity estimated according to level 4. Another deliverable is estimated as complexity level 7. So this will mean that the budget for this specific agreement will amount to 90,000 euro. Next, so this is the basis of the financing non-linked to cost, meaning that the budget will be, this will be better clarified later by my colleague Donna, but this is the basis that is not linked to the amount of work or days worked by the beneficiary, but to the deliverables. Next, yes. So this is my last slide. So this is just to encourage Article 36 organizations to apply for this call for proposals, because this represents a good opportunity, excellent opportunity for organizations, because it's an opportunity to contribute to have an impact on human, plant and animal health, as well as the environment at EU level. It will be represent an opportunity for strategic collaboration on innovative topics related to pesticide risk assessment. It will be a collaboration between EFSA and Article 36 organization. From either EFSA and also Article 36 organizations can benefit from this collaboration. Also to encourage you to apply, because rest assured that EFSA will support during the grant implementation of the specific agreements. EFSA will be there to support the beneficiaries by providing their access to the right tools, by providing access to data, to expertise. So EFSA is available to support as needed. And here now the link to the call, and yes, just find a picture to encourage you to apply. And with this, I finish my presentation. Thank you very much. And now I give the floor to my colleague, Donna.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining this webinar this afternoon. I'm going to present on the finance and administrative aspects of participation to this grant call for proposals. I work in the finance unit here at EFSA, and we manage all the procurement calls for tenders and grant calls for proposals. So we try to give you an overview on how to apply and the administrative steps in doing so. If we could go to the next slide, please. So as you see here, the call for proposals that we have for support to EFSA for the risk assessment of pesticides is restricted to the list of competent organisations which are defined on the Article 36 list. This list can be found on the EFSA website. If you download the call for proposals documents, in there are also links to the EFSA website where you can see who are the organisations who are eligible to apply for this grant call. Next slide, please. Now, the call was launched on the EU Funding and Tender Opportunities portal on the 4th of March, and we'll have a deadline of 22nd of May for proposals to be submitted. However, in that period, we have something called the clarification period. So once you've downloaded the documents, you've read them, if you have any questions, you'll be able to publish those questions through the portal. and EFSA will provide a written reply to each question so that every applicant who's interested to apply gets to see also the clarification questions that are raised. Now, the deadline for you to pose clarification questions is the 14th of May. In relation to submitting your application, we no longer accept hard copy paper applications. Applications may only be submitted using the EU Funding and Tenders portal, which provides for an electronically encrypted system through which your proposals can be uploaded. Now, a really important part of the call documents which you will download from the EU Funding and Tenders portal is part 3.1, which describes in detail, step by step, the steps that you need to take in order to submit your proposal through the portal. This includes also a prior registration, and the call for proposals itself also has links embedded within it that take you to animated videos also, which can guide you through the application process if you haven't applied for EFSA grant funding in this way in the past. Now, the portal also contains a feature which allows for the search of consortium partners. We raise this with a note of caution in that the partner search function in the tool allows you to register that you are looking for a partner or you're interested to be a partner. But please be aware that there is no screening at that stage of whether those organisations are listed in the Article 36 list. So if you look at the portal and you see other organisations with their names listed there saying that they would like to partner with another organisation to apply for this grant, it's very important for you that you check the Article 36 list and you confirm that this organisation with whom you might like to apply in consortium, you need to check that they are on the Article 36 list of organisations. If we could go to the next slide, please. Now, the call for proposals will ultimately result in a framework partnership agreement. There'll be a maximum of 4 framework partnership agreements for each of the area and task combinations. Now, these framework partnership agreements will be signed in cascade. Practically, what does that mean? When we evaluate the proposals that we receive, we will formulate a ranking of those proposals based on the quality of each of the proposals. So we will sign the FPAs with the first ranked, they will be first in cascade, the second ranked, they will be second in cascade, etc. For the actual implementation of the agreements, when we sign the FPA, we don't order any specific work, we don't commit anything financially. But at the point we have a piece of work and tasks to be carried out, we will sign a specific agreement and we will go first to the first in cascade and offer them that opportunity. They can accept. It could be at that time that the first in cascade doesn't have the time or the resources to perform that work. So they do have the possibility to refuse at that stage, and if they do, we would then go to the second in cascade. Now, the fact that the first in cascade has refused a piece of work initially doesn't mean that that's a problem for the next time an opportunity comes up. They are approached as first in cascade always. If they refuse, then we go to the second, then we go to the third and the fourth, etc. So if you're awarded an FPA, you have the flexibility there to accommodate also within your own work programs and the tasks that you have on your plate. You can accommodate whether you can accept that piece of work from EFSA or not in that moment. Now, the overall estimated budget for the framework partnership agreements across the 4-year duration is 2.5 million. Okay, that doesn't mean that EFSA will spend exactly 2.5 million. We will see through the FPAs how much we commit and when, through specific agreements, when the time comes for tasks to be performed. As my colleague was saying, the form of financing through this grant is known as financing not linked to cost. So many of you who may be familiar with the more traditional forms of grant, which are awarded by the European Commission, many of those are based on the reimbursement of actual costs incurred, which are administratively sometimes quite heavy because you will have to document the number of days worked and provide pay slips and invoices and other evidence to support the costs that you have incurred. Now, the form of grant that we're using is not like that for this FPA. It's financing not linked to cost, so we're not looking for the beneficiary to record the number of days worked, to provide evidence of the expenses that they have. What we're looking to is the results achieved. We're looking at the deliverables that are achieved, and if they are delivered to the level of quality that's defined in the specifications, then the price that was agreed at the start will be the price that is paid without the need to submit additional supporting evidence such as invoices, pay slips of staff, timesheets. Now, the duration of the framework partnership agreements is 48 months, so 4 years, and during that period, a series of specific agreements will be signed as and when the need for work arises. Finally, a word on applications by consortium. Applications from a consortium of Article 36 organisations are not mandatory, but you are welcome, most welcome to apply in consortium if that will help you to meet the different capacity and experience requirements in the call. One thing that is not permitted, however, is subcontracting. So if you apply alone or if you apply in consortium, that's fine, but you are not permitted to subcontract any parts of the work under this agreement. Next slide, please. Just to illustrate for you how your proposals will be evaluated. So once the deadline for proposals has passed, a committee of EFSA staff will evaluate the proposals received, and we will look at different criteria that are set out in section 2 of the call. Now, the first criteria we look to are the eligibility criteria, and that is essentially whether the applicant and any partners are on the Article 36 list. If they're not, that proposal will be excluded. We then look to whether the applicant and the partners are proposed to be involved in the execution of the project, and we will check to make sure that there's no mention of subcontracting. So that's the first hurdle in the evaluation. The next thing that we will look at is the exclusion criteria. Now, these are fixed in law in the EU financial regulation, and these require us to check things like clean judicial record of the organisation, payment of taxes and social security contributions of the organisation, and we ask for the facilitation of our checking of that for applicants and the partners to sign a declaration on honour on exclusion. These are forms that you can download from the EU funding and tenders portal and should be submitted for each applicant and partner if applying in consortium. We will also check the economic and financial capacity. So this is demonstrated again through a self-declaration in the Declaration on Honour on Exclusion. If we could go to the next slide. We will then look to the selection criteria at the technical and professional capacity of the organisations and the individuals within the organisations that are applying to help EFSA with these framework partnership agreements. So in order to evidence this, we're asking the applicants to submit a signed statement which confirms at the level of the organisation they will have the individuals available to perform these tasks, meeting the profile requirements which are described under section 1.3 of the call. We're not asking for CVs to be submitted at this stage. However, CVs will be considered later at the level of the specific agreement. So when we sign and assign the specific pieces of work, we will be looking at the CVs at that stage. Finally, we will make an assessment of the award criteria, the quality award criteria. So in order to allow us to make that assessment, applicants are asked to download Annex 6 from the Funding and Tenders portal and to complete that with the relevant outputs that the applicant considers as being representative of its capacity to perform the tasks in the areas to which they are applying. Now, these outputs, which should be described in Annex 6, will then be assessed against award criteria 1, 2, 3 and 4, which are set out in the call for proposals. Next slide, please. So that's an overview of the administrative steps and the application process for this grant. I now give the floor to Manuela, who will lead us through the Q&A session.
Thank you, Donna and Herman, for the very clear presentation, I would say, also considering that we got only a few questions, though very relevant, and so we can start answering those. The first question is from Bernard Paul, and the question is, does EFSA have one or more areas for which additional support is especially required? Well, I think that all the tasks and areas are equally important. This is the result really of a joint effort of different units who are in need of support. Of course, that we might think now of some areas for which we see a lot of developments upcoming, like for instance, biocontrol, data collection, Euclid, but really I would say that if you feel that you could fit in any of the combinations, please do not hesitate to apply. It's our intention actually to make as much use as possible of this amount of money that we have invested in this call. So the answer is nothing specific, and above all, in the next 4 years, you know, things are developing so quickly that it might be that something that today might not be on top of the need will easily be soon. And then Donna can take the next question from Werner. Does it matter how many people from my team work on a task? So Donna, I think, is the best suited to answer this.
Thank you, Manuela. Yeah, so does it matter how many people from my team work on a task? In theory, no, it doesn't. The important thing that EFSA is looking for is that the deliverables are delivered to the level of quality that are defined in these specifications. So whether you have 1, 2 or a team of people working on that, EFSA is not going to look behind at the cost behind the individuals who are delivering those deliverables. I think it's important to say the number of people in your team, you do need to look at the selection criteria and ensure that you will have available for implementation a suitable number and variety of people who can cover the competencies that are listed in 1.3 of the specifications, but it doesn't matter how many people in your team finally work on those tasks, as long as those people are experienced in that area. Manuela?
Thank you, Donna. We also have another question on how many beneficiaries we've had for the previous grant, the current grant, which expires at the end of the year. We had 4 beneficiaries, 4 institutions, and I have to say that we had a lot of benefit from their support, in particular in some areas, but they cover basically residues, endocrine disruption, data collection, environmental, and ecotox. Indeed, a few only, and we do hope that this round it will be possible to have more, ideally. And I think that there's another question here. All the activities defined in the tasks need to be addressed from a beneficiary, or we can just focus on specific aspects. I think, Herman, maybe you can take it, but I can easily start by saying, as far as understood from before, you will be ranked based on your proposal, and obviously these will be considered for putting you in the list as a beneficiary. And then all the activities, I think with this combination of areas and tasks, we try to narrow down as much as possible. So if you end up in the list of beneficiary, we assume that you can take it. On the other side, when it comes to the contract, specific contract, you might decline in case this is not something for which you feel ready or available. But Herman, do you want to add anything on this specific question?
No, it's correct. Just that, yes, the evaluation, if there are several activities under a single task, will take into account the output on the different activities. So yeah, and it will be evaluated together.
So thank you, Herman. Now we are receiving several questions, so I will live look at them and try to assign or see whether we need to answer in writing. Maybe Donna, you can take this one, basically the Alb who sent it. So on the different complexity levels for budget, or maybe, sorry, Herman who explained this, apologies. The different complexity levels for budget are not clear to Alb. Can we add some more details? So Herman, maybe you can try to elaborate on this. Thanks.
Yes, thank you for the question. Yes, indeed, and the call for proposal contains a table with 20 levels of complexity of deliverables. And once, so in the case of a task that EFSA requires support, this task may be comprised, may include one or more deliverables, okay? And the complexity of the deliverables will be judged by EFSA. Yeah? So as I explained the example, there are 2 deliverables, one is level 4, another level 7, the budget will be based on these levels of complexity. But yes, the level of complexity for each deliverable will be judged by EFSA, meaning that it will be EFSA will say how much complex is the deliverable. I hope this provides more clearance.
Thanks, Herman. Thank you. We continue. Let me see. Let's go back because I didn't take one. From Anonymous, do you have a rough idea estimation about the number of specific agreements you will launch under the FPA? Well, as I said, no clear numbers, but really we do intend to make as much use as possible of this call and this grant, because there's a lot that we might not always be taking because of lack of resources. But if we co-work or we collaborate with those who are the beneficiaries in this call, I think we can enlarge definitely and speed up the field of work and speed up a lot. So no rough estimation, but I have to say in the current one, we have been quite active and we have used as much as possible the money and also the time of those who were listed in this ranking list. Then I think I can take the question from Stefan. Is it permitted to further specify the own proposal further for the combination of Task 5, Area 3, by explicitly applying for support in the work on the revision of the terrestrial guidance document and the new guidance on indirect effect? I would say no, because these will be the subject of a dedicated contract. What we need from you is, if you, of course, want to be share your expertise on this field, absolutely, please feel free to elaborate while applying to the call. But at the moment, we put the example of the terrestrial guidance just because this is something that we decided to consider also under this framework, considering the latest developments in the area. So, of course, you can write it, but this is not a guarantee. Does not change the way the proposal will be assessed. Okay. And then maybe I would like to alert Herman for the question of Peter Melin. Some areas and tasks seem to be on the same topic. For instance, Task 3 and Area 2. What is the distinction? Herman, maybe you can give us some details.
Yes, thank you. Yes, indeed, Task 3, which is the scientific contribution to drafting EFSA outputs related to pesticide residues, can be applicable to different areas. Because indeed Area 2 is residues, but Area 1 is toxicology, Area 3 is ecotoxicology, and Area 6 is scientific coordination and administrative support. So yeah, meaning that Task 3 can be combined because the EFSA outputs on pesticide residues can contain elements also from several areas. So depending on the area, the area task combination is different.
So thanks, Herman. And I would take now Barbara's question. are the deliverables chosen only by the applicants according to the call, or EFSA has some specific requests? If I get it well, as Donna mentioned, after all the ranking is finalized, or the assessment of the proposal, we have this final table with all the areas where the first 4 applicants are reported in there, and then EFSA will approach the first ranked, and then the second one, and so on and so forth, depending on their reply, whether they intend to take the task that EFSA is proposing. So based on this combination, areas and tasks, EFSA will approach the applicant to propose and to share the need of the work. In this sense, there's a chance to discuss whether there's a need to refine something, but it's EFSA submitting the request specifically. And then the dialogue will start. I think that Donna maybe can take the question from Peter Melin on the retrieval of the template for Annex 6. Donna.
Thanks, Manuela. Yes, the document is published, but you will not see it on the EU funding and tenders portal at the moment. I just tried to share now my screen, if possible, to try to show you actually how you find it. So here you see the EU funding and tenders portal. This is the call. If you scroll down this page, you will come to a section called, okay, here you see the basic call documents. So these are the basic ones. If you keep scrolling down, you will see start submission. And it's only when you tick start submission that you will then be redirected to this page. Okay, so this is the start of your submission, and from here you can download the Part B templates. So Annex 6 is contained within that group of documents to be downloaded.
Thank you, Donna. I would continue with the question that Anonymous put in the chat. Was the unsuccessful call you mentioned on the review of guidance document on terrestrial ecotoxicology under Task 5 a guarantee that the call will not be relaunched? I cannot answer this in the sense that for sure we know that the previous one was not successful, and we want to have as many possibilities as possible to have the chance either to have the support for this guidance under this framework, or to be seen how to handle this. So I cannot answer on whether the call won't be relaunched, but for sure we wanted to have a chance now to possibly include here the possibility to have part of the task, if not all, done under this. So we will try to use or make use of this grant also for this. And I also see that there's a question that very likely Herman is able to answer from Anonymous. With the award criteria, is it taken into account the number of area task combinations you submit a proposal for? E.g., is there a maximum to how many areas, tasks, one organization can be included in the FPA? Herman.
Thank you, Manuela. Yeah, yes, as I said, an organization can apply to one or more area task combinations. There are up to 45, 44, 54, but yeah, at least one. And all the area task combinations will be evaluated separately, so that EFSA will establish a cascade for each area task combination. And is there a maximum to how many area tasks one organization can be included in the FPA? No, it depends. If, let's say, if an organization applies to 10 area task combinations, if the application is good enough and a good quality, they could be ranked into the cascade of all of them. But so there is no maximum. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Herman. And so I'm back here. I would say we are on time. I think we answered all the questions, but yeah, I think that everything will be published later on, as we mentioned. And as I do not see any further questions, I'm happy to thank you and to say good afternoon and good weekend to all the participants. Remember that everything will be published, and so the question and answer will be also available in the funding and tender portal. And again, I want to recall you all to take a few minutes of your time before closing for the weekend to complete the satisfaction survey. It's important for us to have feedback on the event and how we can improve in the future. Having said this, I also want to thank all the colleagues, the ones you have seen and the ones you haven't seen, but behind the scene of this info session. And I thank you very much, and I wish you a good weekend. Thanks.